All right, so we're back again with our friend Clay Long from Clay Long Designs. How are you, Clay?
Well, I'm good. How did you today?
Good, great. Great to talk
Up in
to
New
you.
York, I hear. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm in New York, and actually, they just had some commemorative, like Keegan Bradley brought in one of his ex-teammates from St. John's, who's the kid that basically grew up. I know him since he was in diapers. And the club the men's club that were the guardians of the gate at Bethpage Black since before the USGA took it over is the Nassau Players Club. So I was a former member of that.
Uh-huh.
Keegan Bradley brings in the president of the Nassau Players Club and tells him, he speaks to the team and he says, so like today you're all Nassau players. This is your home course and you have to protect it. It's
Right.
America's country club. It
Yep.
was cool. Very moving. Anyway, so since the last time we talked, the last time we kind of hashed some of your career, your background, how you got into McGregor, etc. Right.
Right.
So I want to kind of cover the response putter,
Okay.
the birth of the response, and how it came about, and what led you to design this thing. So you take it from there.
It's one of those stories where we didn't set out to design a big fat putter. We didn't sit down and say, let's design a really oversized putter that has, super inertia, super forgiving, blah, 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 blah. Let's do that. That's really not how it started at all. It started out with a concept of a collective face that suits your particular alignment, the way you plant your putter at. We had done some testing. I had been using a razor and a mirror on all the guys on our staff that would come around. I had done Jack, and we got on to see him, and I was using it to see how accurately the guys on the staff aimed their putter at a target from about 15 feet. I was just really interested in putting and great putters and trying to find, is there anything I can kind of find since I got access to these guys that would, really honestly help teach me to putt better, So I was checking their alignment with a razor. And so we had some of this data and it looked like, well, people, even pros, some line them up open, some line it up closed, and some line them up straight. They're not all do it the same way. And so then we checked some consumers at the golf course there in Albany. And we came up with the same information. People fairly consistently for an individual, but not very straight very often. And so we said, well, maybe what we should do is we'll build a putter that has a face that's cut a little open for those that line it up left, and a little closed for people that line it up right, and then you can buy a straight face. And so that would help you correct when you hit the putt based on the fact that you're not lining it up right. So we said, okay, let's do that. We need to test that, see if that works. The way the layout was that the face was cut back behind the top line into the cut putter. So when you look down, all you saw was a straight top line. You couldn't see the face actually. So obviously, with a little bit of an overhang on the top, it had to be deep enough so that you didn't hit the ball with it. So we just figured out how much to scale the putter up so that the top of the face, you could never hit the ball with the top of the face. And I seemed like that was 32% we came up with. So we were actually machining some master models for the smoothie putter line, which is a conventional putter line that we were in the process of making the master models for that. And we had written some CNC programs to cut the outline of the putter. It was just those you were doing all that by hand. You were figuring it all out on a piece of paper and putting the coordinates in a teletype machine. Then like today where you draw a picture and then the code pops out from the computer. So turns out you could add in that old code, you could add one single line to it, and it would scale the whole program up. And so we said, okay, let's take one of those smoothie putters and we'll scale it up 32%, and that'll make a deep face, and we can cut different face areas on, and we can go test it. So we just scanned it up. So it blew the whole thing up, blew it up top and all of it. Of course, the neck was still. We had to trim the neck now because it's scaled up too. So that's how we made the prototypes to test, and they were big. They were like 6 inches long. So we weren't too worried about that because we were testing the concept, see if the concept worked. So we made, I don't know, half a dozen of them. Took them out to the golf course after the country club, and I started testing people with them. And it went great. The alignment went great. If you lined it up a little bit right, the closed face, you'd hit the ball more on, and vice versa. So we said, this is great. So we just sort of left it big. So we got kind of a finished model then, and we sent it into the USGA for approval.
Performance.
And they got it, and they called us back. So this isn't conforming with this overhang. The face has to be relatively flat, and we consider this a degree of concavity, which is not conforming. And so we were just kind of devastated. We thought, man, this is a great idea. It'll help people putt better. It's kind of like a corrective face on the putter and all this kind of stuff. And so we had this.
So hold on. So the original face was smoothed out with a concave, sort of like or was it just an offset from the top edge, or how was it?
It was just an inset from the top.
Okay, so then you had an overhang.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. The top of the face. If this is the face here, the top line stuck out over.
Stuck out over like that.
That's the face.
Like a
the top line is square,
Like you had a corner there.
Yeah, and it just stepped back in, and they said, man, that's not flat. That's not going to work. So
by scaling it back, by scaling it 32%, you had the 1.68 diameter cover.
Yeah.
Of a ball. So the only way they could really screw it up is if they came down steep and hit the
ball. You have to like the way you could on top of that. So now we have this giant oversized now, and we had to put a flat face on it. And so that's what we were stuck with after all the designing and the thinking about the corrective face and all that. So we're saying, well, is there anything we can do with this now that our concept's blown? And at that time, if you probably remember this, that Slotline was selling the inertia putters. And we did the Roosevelt and had that cool little advertisement where they had, 8 or 10 pictures of conventional putters. And they had 2.5 times better, 1.8 times better, 1.5 times better. And he was talking about the inertia, his putter versus the inertia of these. And he was doing really well. And we were sitting around talking and saying, the amount of inertia of this putter is going to be like way, way bigger than the inertia putter, because the inertia putter was pretty much conventional size. And we said, well, maybe we could just sell it on a inertia basis, but it's like a super inertia putter. So we're talking about that. It's really not a product yet. It's kind of like in limbo now. We've done all this work and we've made these prototypes and we just kind of hit a dead end. So this was in July '85. We had the sales meeting in Albany. And I guess business went too good. We're in the sales meeting in Albany. Jeff comes to the sales meeting, which he hardly ever did that. And he hardly still came up to Albany, but they didn't come up to the sales meeting. And we were launching a 25th anniversary set, Irons and Woods. It was a remake of the set that he went out and started the tour with. And I'm going to have a big sales contest to see who could sell it. I'm going to make about 2,500 sets or something. And so he came up to kind of bless that and talk to the salesman. And so in the process of doing that, we had set up a robot, like you see on TV that paints cars. We had programmed a robot to sand wood heads over in the production plant. And we took him over there. We said, we're going to take you over and show you something really cool. This thing sands these classic woods and makes every one of them perfect. And so we took him over there to show him the robot installation over at the plant. And in that trip, we walked back through the R&D offices, which was back in the front of the plant, by my office. And when we walked through the office, I had about 3 or 5 of them leaning up against my door in my office. And we walked by the door, And I reached and I grabbed one and I said, "Look at this." And he picked it up and he looked at it and he said, "Is this a joke?" So he gets a couple of pets with it, hands it back to me and he says, "Let me up a couple of those and send them down to me and I'll try them." I said, "Okay." Just, that was it. So, so I did that. I made a couple of them up and I sent them down there. 2 weeks later, now, understand that this is not a product. It's, well, it's just, remote stuff and nothing about looked at it too much, anyway. So I sent him about 2 weeks later and calls me on the phone. He says, "Hey, that big old putter you sit down here?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "It's not too bad." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, it's not too bad." And I said, "Well, do you think we can make a product out of it?" He said, "Yeah, I think you probably could." I said, "Okay, well, I'll go talk to George." So George Nicklaus was the president. So as soon as I hung up, I walked up to George's office, which is up in front of it, up in the front of the plant. And we were all in one place at that time. I walked there and I said, tell him what Jack said. "Hey, Jack, hit putter with the putter." And he said, "It's not too bad." He says, he thinks we can make a product out of it. And George says, "Okay." He says, I'll tell you what you do. He says, "Now, you got to understand the context of this is that we had sold about 1,200 putter line putters the year before, total. We were selling nothing. Our putter line it was kind of old style,
But
George
but
type style stuff. It was,
but was there, like, today, the breakdown and the product lines are not what they were then.
and
In other words, like, you go out here and you can just find just Scotties and Pings and pure, like, that's its own category,
we
right?
had Ping style putters in the line at that time. We hadn't even made any cavity back, of course, Ping was dominant then.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of those kind of styles. We have not really upgraded the putter line.
You had blades,
Yeah,
8802 and Wizards and
that's right,
and
exactly.
bullseye lookalikes. And
That's
whatever.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So he said, "Okay, I'll tell you what you do. You make me 4 models, and we'll launch it in January." And I said, "Okay." So this was July. So that's not a lot of time to launch in January.
Right.
So I went back, we sat down, we laid out 4 different models, all blades at that time, of course. And we cut all the masters there, all our machines there, made our own masters. And he had told me that somebody around that time, he said, "Make me a putter like Watson." And so one of the models I made like a PAL, which was the one he ended up winning with. And the others were kind of they weren't really pure copies. They were just giant cavity back putters. They weren't really, by today's standards, not very aesthetically nice models, but we were pretty, simple in terms of, in those days we were branded on a piece of paper, we let computer model it on. So, and I didn't actually copying other putters other than the PAL. I tried to kind of.
Now, okay, so you're going out there and you're drawing it out, you're dimensioning it, you're holding some center point, the COM or whatever.
Yeah.
You're generating coordinates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what happens?
So,
you hand them to Don White and he pulls out a file and starts carving. How does this work? So you had a CNC, you just didn't have the new CAD CAM stuff.
Talking about teletype machine.
Okay.
Figuring out the coordinates off the drawing. And, how you the radius of the curve and the stabbing. It's kind of complicated doing it by hand. But anyway, that's how we were doing it. So we got our masters.
Right.
We did the mechanical drawings first, and figure out where the shaft axis we wanted. But I tried to make it intersect the ground at the same distance from the center of gravity that an answer did, sort of, to kind of just give some kind of semblance of minutes later. So anyway, we made 3 different models. And we made the masters. We sent them out here in California and had the tooling made out of that. And we got them in, and we started to make them. And he had never said anything about using it or anything. It was just, it's not too bad. So we started to make them. were vibratory finish. They were just like a penny was in those days. It was aluminum and we were vibrating. It had a mirror face. Every the first putter we had a mirror face. So we were mirror in the face. And so we made up a few, 2 or 3, sent them down to him, and he called back and said, I want mine black. And so, okay, let me run black. So we made him 2 or 3 black, and production was silver at the time. We were running up some parts to go to the show. So we went to the PGA show. We took 300 putters down there, and we gave them away. There were people back around the show, back around these giant putters. This is before head covers, of course. And I had carrying these things over the shoulder, back around through the place. So we got that, and the initial production had my signature on it. I had put my signature on the bottom of the first. Well, it turned out to be the first 200 of each model. And then after we started to run, but we saw the forecast was 6,000 players for the year. That was the forecast. And we went down to PGA show and we wrote 5,000 orders down there. So we were really, we were big time excited about that. So they decided, well, we're going to take your signature off and put patent pending because we're going to file a patent on this thing. So my name was on a couple of hundred of each model in the beginning. And lucky for me, the Masters has my signature on. So we made, I don't know, we probably made 4 putters for him, painted them black. And then I think in middle and late January, he started trying it. He started putting it. So immediately we changed the production to black. So we made some silver, we made some thousands of them silver, and then we rolled over into black because he was using it putting with black. So we couldn't believe he was putting with it because all I ever used was that Wizard 600 putter. So we were just, and Jack never changed anything. He never changed his grips or he didn't change anything. Everything was exactly the way it was the year before his new sets. Last thing I ever expected was him to switch putters of all things. So he's out there playing with it. And he's not playing very good. I mean, he was playing really poorly that spring. But we were selling putters. We were selling that well-level forecast. So he's out there, when he's playing this new goofy-looking putter. Going up to the Masters, we had sold 20,000 putters. So internally, it was a big, big success on a 6,000 piece forecast. We were all, because R&D, if you do it, work on a product and it sells really good, you feel like you sold them all. It's just like, this is so great. So we were all really happy, except for the fact he was playing so bad, and we thought, man, he's going to put that up any day now. That's going back in the bag. That Wizard's coming back out of up, our sales on this will go like this, And because he was missing cuts, he was playing terrible, and then he wins the Masters with it. In the manner that he did. Right? And it absolutely just blew the roof off of the place. It was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, he sold 5,000 putters from 8 o'clock to noon on Monday morning following the Masters. That's 10 hours. That's just to give you an example. So I was going to put that in the California to get triple two of them. We had like 1 man for each putter. We had to get 3 for each putter. We had to ramp that manufacturing because we were bringing them in and finishing them and machining them in-house. We were machining the faces and polishing them and putting the rates in them and gluing the rates in them. We had a little brass plate we put on the bag and all that stuff. We were doing all that in-house. When that today where you just email China and say, we need twice as many.
Outsource them. Yeah, sure.
So another painting them and baking the paint on and all that. So we were jumping through hoops internally, manufacturing-wise. Sales just, everybody had to have some. Every pro shop in America needed some of those in their shop, right away. It was just wild. I think by the end of the year, we had sold about 150,000, but that was all we could make. And I think before it cooled off, we had sold about 350,000 of them before it started to slow down. But it was nobody in the company had ever, even people that are much older than me been there all the time, and nobody ever seen anything like that happen ever. And we were just dumbfounded, excited, and it was awesome fun.
Well, let me ask you a question now. So back then, McGregor was a green grass account. Is that correct? Yeah,
Yeah.
so, Edwin Watts or any of that stuff, you know what I mean? I
Yep.
mean,
We sold them. Yeah.
yes, I was just curious because I know that Nicholas was very particular about how people bought that, McGregor stuff. So I
It was
know
in specialty shops. Yeah. And
okay,
it was just bananas. It was just nuts. I mean, the Man Army is 250,000 square feet. It's a big building. Half of it was dedicated to wood production, half of it to iron production. And we were still making woodwoods then. And on any given day in irons, there were these carts that had about 6 sets on each cart that kind of made their way through ran their way through the process. You know, when they get assembled and they get cut and they get gripped and they get cleaning up and all this kind of stuff. And there was always these, I don't know, probably, 100 or so carts when you wrapped up and looked down the thing. And we were making these putters on racks that were about 5 feet high and had prongs sticking out. So the heads were sticking on these things, and the racks were about as tall as a person. And I'd say about 6 weeks after the Masters, you walked in the iron department and looked down, and it's a huge room. All you could see were racks of putters. You couldn't see the irons. You couldn't even find them. It was just solid putters. The whole room. It's a huge room.
incredible.
And of course, the guys in maintenance were there building racks, and all that. It was crazy. It was crazy. But it was awesome fun. Awesome fun. Once in a lifetime, for sure.
You ride it out and then, Now, that being said, so I know that, when I was with, Golden Bear, Nicholas bought that putter and put his Jack Nicklaus, became part of Jack Nicklaus's, equipment line. It Yeah, 'cause, we had a picture of him with the famous pose on, I think it was at 16 at Augusta, where he holds it up.
Yeah,
That actually became the logo for Golden Bear Golf Centers, I think,
right.
the silhouette, and it kept selling. It kept selling, it was amazing, I just can't believe that. Beyond I'm talking maybe 10 years after, with a different logo on it, kept selling.
He used that big putter. He used a big putter for about 2 years. Not that particular one, but when we made a couple different versions, later, a little smaller out of stainless and all that. But he used an oversized putter for about 10 years.
Yeah. But it looked like the McGregor Response, the one that he had
Mm-hmm.
with Nicklaus equipment. And now LA Golf apparently had something similar, as I was looking through their catalog, looked exactly the same to me.
Yep. Yep. I'm out of that.
You're so you're were you a part of it? You were a part of that?
Designed it. Yep, I did.
Okay, good, yeah. So they bought it out and, I mean, you got
The head guy at R&D there, we worked together at Tigers, and I said, well, composite and oversized go together, really well, because the composite's even lighter than the aluminum. And so we talked about it and said, well, let's make a mid-size, mid-oversized graphite and tungsten putter. And so we did. It was okay, but not great. Not great. It doesn't have a great feel to it. The composite kind of made it sound kind of like wood.
right.
It looked okay, and of course it rolls the ball good. The inertia was really high, but it didn't have. It just didn't have a really good click to it. What we were hoping to do there was we were hoping to build one and then tweak it, see what it felt like, and then tweak it and see if we could work on it. So with the CEO side, he got so excited, so we got to do this. We have to sell this right now.
So they did scale it down, like
Yeah,
the
it's
second iteration was smaller.
It's
Yeah.
5.5, and the original was 6 inches long, and this one's 5.5,
What is a ping answer?
4.5.
Okay, so it's an inch longer. So you'd
Yeah.
say half an inch in either direction? Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, a half inch goes a long way.
Yeah. So how can I mean, okay, so I have this I'm a big answer type fan. By the way, while we're on that, Nicholas wins 19 majors. He won 20 majors total, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, 18. 18. Take away the amateur.
Professional majors.
Yeah, okay. So he wins 17 of them with the George Lowe. and one with the
Respect.
response. Right?
That's right.
Tiger wins 15 majors, right?
Yep.
Wins 14 of them with the Answer 2, with the Newport 2,
Yep.
and one of them with that Terillium one that first came out, the
Yeah.
first Masters. So they each won one major with a separate putter, just a GP. But okay, I'm a big fan of the Answer Head,
Right.
original, the Scottsdale Answer Head,
Sure.
not the two, not just the one. So I go to Odyssey, the Odyssey, whatever their one head is. I have the King heads. I have a big collection of putters. Sean Toulon did one for Odyssey. They had called it the 5K, right?
Yeah.
It was supposedly the forgiveness of a mallet in a blade.
Yeah. Right.
Actually, works.
5,000 inertia. Yeah.
Is that legitimate? Is that something that I have it and compare it? It's pretty good on miss hits, at least.
Well, 5,000 is good for the blade.
Right.
In terms of comparing it to a mallet, I mean, it depends on what mallet you're talking about, because not all mallets are high inertia. If they're not a little oversized, they're not much higher than a blade in some cases. 5,000 is a pretty good achievement in a 4.5-inch blade. And you basically have to thicken it out and put some tungsten in the heel and toe to get it to go that high.
So we're looking,
they're at about 300 usually, just like a standard all-metal part.
4,300 would be like a general standard.
So, yeah, 43, 45, something like that. So 5,000 would be like, you'd have to kind of want to do that. You just have to do something there.
Might be a little heavier, but it's strokes just like a plate,
Yeah, and because method and heavier helps that number too. Right. If you make it 360 instead of 350, it's a lot easier to get to 5,000. So. I tell you, I've gotten to the point where I'm not nearly as concerned about inertia as I used to be. I used to think it was a really good selling point, and it's good physics for sure. But I really haven't seen the high inertia stuff really sell well or become highly used on tour. Stuff that is legit high inertia. That's not driving usage or sales, as far as I can see. For a long time.
Okay, well, usage and sales versus performance. I mean, if you put them through a test with the high inertia putter, I mean, how many strokes gained? Because, for example, this AI design that Odyssey has, apparently they had John Rahm in there, and they had to convince him that this AI iteration of his was now like, I think he has what was the Rossi head looking thing.
That was smart, man.
The Rossi is either Rossi 1 or Rossi 2. Can't remember. I was actually at a Super Bowl party at the PGA show back in the days, and I met the founders of Odyssey right before they sold out to, and Rosberg was there, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rosberg and Lee Elder. But they had to convince him that what he was using was inferior to this AI. And then they talked about, the percentages of strokes. And then, but when they broke it down to dollars and cents, he said, okay, I'm God.
We did an oversized run, or attempted to do an oversized line of putters at TaylorMade when I first got there. Sean was head of product creation, and he brought me in to work on runs and putter. And so we sat around and we're talking about concepts and this, that, and the other. And the discussion kind of went like, I said, I honestly feel like that if a big company would get behind Oversized a little bit, and we'd build some really nice looking oversized putters, and you took them out on tour, and you promoted them, and you really tried to get guys to use them. I said, I really think you could really make a statement doing that, and you could really let that go, and then everybody be following you in putters because the physics are there. You know, I mean, you can't argue with the physics on this hit putts. The larger and extra putt, the better it's that little further. You know, and so we decided we'd give that a try, and that got kind of railroaded after he left. Not long after that, not too long, 6 months or so, he left. A new guy came in, and they moved me over, and that thing kind of just ended up getting pushed over to the side. But I was talking to some of the tour guys out, and we were out on tour doing a little bit of testing, and there's a little bit of pushback right at first when you look at them. It's kind of big, you know. But I would tell them, I'd say, look, all this really means is maybe you make one more putt a week. That one putt that you hit a little bit of the toe, but stayed on the front edge, that goes into this putter. I said, maybe it's one putt a week. And every single man looked at me and said, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
That'd be huge. If I did one putt a week, that'd be huge. And I said, that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about 20, averaging 29 putts. We're talking about when you miss a little bit, and everybody mishits it some, it's going to roll out a little bit farther. And that one putt that you caught a little in the heel or toe, that stops right in the foot, the one that you're going like, go, and it stops. Well, that putt goes into this part. And every single guy was like, I'm in, I'm on first. And so I thought, well, if we could just make these things good enough and get them just the right size and get all the dimensions just right so they look really good, so they don't look too boxy or
right,
whatever. We can get the tour reps to buy into it also, because there's always an interesting game with the tour reps, because they get, I know this out working there, but they get measured on usage, and the easier it is to get them play, the better they like it. And so you give them something that's a little weird and that they might get a little pushback on, and they're not always as quick to think that's a great idea. But just give me a copy of a real good copy of an answer. I can get all these guys to use that. So there's a little bit of a negotiation there inside of a company when you're doing something kind of out of the box to try to get the tour shops to kind of embrace it a little bit. I mean, they will, but they're not trying just to jump right on something funny. And I blame them a bit for that, because they're going to get out on the face, taking something out there that nobody knows, So anyway, but we talked about that, about they had Spider, of course, but everything else was just kind of blah. There was no reason to buy any of the classic tailor-made putters at that time. They were not very high quality, and they didn't look all that great, and there wasn't any reason to buy those. And we thought, well, maybe if we re-engineered all those things and made them bigger, oversized, made them pretty, and built this story, this forgiving story, then at least there'd be a reason to buy that instead of something else, So, but anyway, that really sounded out of date.
But now you have this lab putter, right?
Yeah.
Which, on the surface, for a traditionalist, you look at that thing and say, why would anybody? But yet, it's the hottest selling, most expensive putter on tour right now. And I think they just sold out to an investment company, to one of these financial companies. And, it's so hot that they can't scale without more money. They're not going to meet the demand.
They did exactly what I was talking about us trying to do at TaylorMade with Oversized. Go out there, work with some guys, find some guys that are maybe not putting good, and they've had that putter out there for years. They've been messing with that. It's turning out an overnight sensation. They've really put in the work to cultivate that, and finally some guy wins, and
he makes a big critical putt just like Nicklaus does, and
yeah,
J.J. Spahn and Dan Hicks made the call, and the putt is rolling, and all he needs is a 2-putt. He drains it, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Lucas Glover maybe 2 years ago or so, and then and I know from working out there that they were pretty much sheep. The true guys. I mean, somebody wins or something a little funky, they're all going to come tight. I mean,
They're all over.
they're in it quick. As soon as Glover went into it, there was going to be some
Interest.
sampling. They were going to come cut, and so
Yeah.
it's great. I like to see that. I like to see somebody go out there and do the homework and stick with it and kind of finally strike gold. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, they deserve it. Like you said, they put in the work.
They have.
They probably went out there, did their homework, pounded the pavement, checked the roll. I mean, they on every practice putting green on every event,
I
sure.
remember standing up at Riviera in maybe 2000 and maybe 16. We were up there with, I forget when we were up there. We were out in putting green though, and they were over there showing that little where they got the two little sticks and they got it the putter between them. They go back and forth and it doesn't move. The zero torque part of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a really cool presentation. That really makes a lot of sense when you're showing somebody that. It's gonna. I mean, the putter's got a lot of old sets, so it looks weird, but the zero torque part of it is. I thought it was really a cool presentation.
It's a good point of sales, right?
Absolutely.
Get people to understand what the advantages are and why how they're going to benefit from it, right?
And
Yes. Yeah. It's all about what's in it for me, right? Okay, well, it's all it's about. It's not like, yeah. So what about your new lines? Let's talk about your stuff now.
I've made a few classic remakes, some extra remakes. I've got sort of an answer to matter that's kind of a G matter and an A matter, which is sort of a kind of classic answer style. I've made a mallet, which I made a mallet in 2018. I hadn't made any more. I've got to make some more, which is kind of a short. It looks like is that a short number 7 with blocked off tail, and it's got a curve through the middle of it to keep it from moving. And it's that was a nice little mallet, and those mallets had the backspin reducer insert in it, new insert design, and I'm working on that also, updated version of that, which is really going to be good. It's going to really tumble the ball off the face a lot, and I'm excited about getting that all finished up. And I'm just finishing up a brand new mallet, the first, what would you call it? High-tech mallet thing, not classic mallet, but really, really high tech. I'm just finishing that up. I think I putted with it today. And there's a center shafted version of it, and there's and one with a little neck on it.
What do you define as a high tech mallet? What kind of features?
Kind of a spidery type putter.
Okay, a spider like. You designed the spider? You were at TaylorMade when the spider came out?
I was there. Well, I was there when it started to make its comeback. But the spider had been around pretty good while.
Okay.
Man, that was an existing design. So, but I have anyway. I sat. It's been probably a couple of months ago. I get kind of bogged down building these classic putters, and I don't have. Sometimes I find myself I don't have time to make something new because I'm building stuff that I've already designed and to sell. So I sat down and I said, I need a putter. I need to make a new mallet, a high tech putter that sells in kind of a spider category. It needs to have a name. So this is the first time I've ever done this. So I sat down and I was sketching up some stuff with a pencil, and I said, I think I'm going to call this putter. It's going to be the porcupine. Porcupine. Now, so came up May 1st.
May 1st is your launch.
May 1st. Then I sat down and I sketched up a couple of sketches of what would a putter named Porcupine look like. And so I made a couple of sketches, and I got the computer out and modeled up, and I'm building some, some first run prototypes of it. But it feels awesome. I mean, not every putter I do, that I think, oh, this really feels great. I mean, some of them look really good, and they just feel like any other putter. This one feels awesome within the ball. And everybody try it. So, boy, that feels good. And it looks weird. It's got a weird look to it. But I think it's going to be really good. I think it checks all the boxes. It's got a different look. There's a lot of adjustability that you can do to it. The way the reds are put in it, and it feels awesome. It's got a stainless steel face and an aluminum back. It's got some stainless steel quills.
So your market segment is based on loyalty or just clay long fans, or does it go out into the I mean, you have a direct sales model, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah.
they want
I just post stuff on Instagram, and somebody will say, I want one of those, or can I have one of the line, or kind of like that. I'm not doing any real sophisticated marketing or anything like that.
Yeah, you're just doing it for fun right now, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. It's stuff I want to do. Now, this particular putter, this new putter, I'll have to have somebody make those for me, because I could never make enough of those to sell. It's the kind of product that I actually could sell, so I could actually, there could be some volume that would bury me in, with one machine, and
you could
taking that out. But
the products you think you can scale. So now you've been screwing around with inserts. Now, what is your preference now on the face? Is it a milling? Is it an insert? Or what do you think is working out?
The best thing that I've got is an insert that makes the ball tumble, takes the backspin off the ball. My way of thinking is okay, I can. There are 50 guys out there that are making pin copies. Anybody can make a pin copy. Some people make better looking copies than others, but I mean, so I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, well, how can I make a pin copy that has some kind of feature to it that makes it better than another pin copy?
Yeah.
And so I sit around and move that all the time. And so I decided, well, it has to pretty much look just like a pin, or it won't appeal to anybody. If you start putting fins on it or something, it's not going to be a pin. I worked on an insert that will actually put overspin on the ball. It'll really drastically reduce the backspin, and it's all metal. The face is all metal. It's not, it's not plastic. And so I think, okay, you can buy a simple, beautiful milled heating base,
right.
So, and with it comes an insert that really does something to the ball. That really makes the putter work better, makes the ball roll smoother, and doesn't backspin as much. So it gives you a reason to buy my putter instead of known 50 guys that are making pin putters.
But at the end of the day, a lot of those sales are just marketing. Would you say?
Just marketing?
Yeah, a lot of the sales of some of the putters was just marketing.
No, for sure.
They weren't any better than anything else.
And branding,
branding and marketing.
Which is basically spending money, really. That's just go out, spend a bunch of money, and hopefully you sell more than it costs you to get somebody to buy it. So I'm not really a marketing guy.
Right.
I've been designing products to be marketed, with stories built into them, for 30 years. It's not, I don't have any understanding of marketing and the story that goes into the product. But what I would really come from is, hey, guess what? I got a better product.
And you can prove it, right? Sure.
Just like his, it looks like his, but it's got this thing in the face that nobody else has got, and it does. I'm showing a picture of it. It does this,
It's just a matter of getting it in their hands. If you could get it in somebody's hands and say, hey, check it out. Let me know what you think.
How does this feel,
That's a part of it. Yeah, sure.
Well, I can't wait to do is put this insert in this new mallet.
Okay. Yeah. John Ortega sent me a putter. His J2O, which is uh one Cam Smith uses. Cameron Smith. That's the Scotty with the short 1.5, I guess. And I got hot with that putter for about 2.5 weeks. I couldn't miss. Yeah, but it's just I don't know what
Is
happened.
that the slant neck answer?
Yeah, it's like a slant neck, a Newport 1.5.
I
So
think that's for him.
it's a short neck
Yeah, I never won. I think I modeled it for him.
because you had one on your site, and I asked you about it.
Right.
A similar one. I don't know if you still have it.
I think this was all cut out of one piece, and mine has a rounded neck.
Oh, yours has a okay. This is one piece billet, and you just
Yeah.
CNC in it. But it's a pretty nice putter. I like
It's
it.
a pretty little part, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a great putter. It feels great. You know what I mean? So it's not like because I had my own putter made. I designed it and I sent it to China, and it came back, and it wasn't anything like what I expected. It just wasn't. I don't know. It was milled, CNC milled, and then I had to mill the face and put like some teeth on it. It didn't. I don't know if there's any difference between just straight a smooth face and a milled face or what the performance is.
The sound different.
Yes.
Really smooth face has kind of a loud kind of,
Yeah, like a ping, right?
Yeah, and then the rougher you make the face, the softer the sound is when you hit it.
It's supposed to be softer feeling or more There's a lot of points of sales, and I don't know how much of that is true.
Supposedly the dreams make it weather a little better. So if you hit up on it, and if you're striking up on it, supposedly the grooves reduce a little backspin.
The grooves grab it and kind of overspin it, get it to tumble. So how many putters are you going to have for this year?
Well, how many did I make?
Yeah, how many models do you have coming out?
I'll have probably 1, 2, 3. I've got a classic. I've got two blades, a classic mallet, and I don't know what you call that. I call it a fifth tail mallet. There's a fifth tail mallet in there. Okay. And so there's a classic mallet, a fifth tail mallet, 2 blades, and then the porcupine. There'll be a couple different versions of the porcupine.
I'll be interested in seeing the porcupine.
I wish I've got it in the car. I wish I had. I should have.
I
could show it to you.
Yeah, send me some pictures of it, and we'll add it. We'll fit it into the interview.
Okay, there's one in existence right now.
Okay, it's your prototype, right?
I did shoot 64 with it before that. I said.
So you made a lot of putts, or were you?
I had 5 tips with an eagle with it.
Oh, you must have been hitting it close to the pin.
They're playing short tees. I just found my buddies at home. They're playing 5,600.
Okay.
I'm just hitting the edge of the home.
64. I don't care if you're shooting it from the 150. 64 is good. That's a good score.
Today a guy came down from LA, and he'd come down and interviewed me in the shop before. He says, "I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna film you shooting your age."
Right.
And I said, well, I don't do that every time I play. I can't really do it on command. So I can come down and so he said he had his glove throw, teed off at 8:15. I made 17 pars and a bogey. Shot my right in the number.
73? 70.
Yeah. I just I didn't make anything, but I didn't think I was not hitting the ball good with an iron at all. So I managed to shoot right on the number for him. I said, that's all I can do today.
He came all the way from LA to film you, and you actually accomplished it. He could always edit the film, though.
Too. And I didn't make a single birdie all day long. It was pretty damn rough.
Wow. No, it's well, shooting your age, that's quite an accomplishment, and I mean, I saw a number you put up there the other day from the tips, so you're still
I played good in the club championship. Yeah, we played from 7,000, and I shot
7,000.
10 last day. I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's quite an achievement.
I tell you, as short as I've hit it now, 7,000 is a lot of work.
It's a lot of woods, and there's a lot of woods and hybrids and woods, but
I think I got about 5 woods in the stuff from back there. So
and you're making putts and getting up and down. I mean, it's good.
it's work from there. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not fair like it used to be.
No, it's I mean, I'm not your age, but I just I'm 60, and I shot a 74 the other day from the tip.
That's a great score. And
Comes around and but I'm talking 6,800, 6,850.
yeah, right.
It's still a good score. Yeah, every once in a while, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So you get it.
I
You
told him
enjoy it, Yeah.
to keep sitting.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be going out to California soon, so I might stop by and check in with you. I gotta go
He could sunny when you
yeah,
come
I'm
out.
gonna yeah, I'm gonna go check in with John and Lucas and some of the other guys. I'm sorry? You talked to John. Yeah? Is he into the putting or what is he doing now? He's not
I think he was getting a lesson at the time because they were in the middle of some discussion about lab, and he called me to ask me some question about inertia, and I said, I told him whatever I can figure out to tell him. But
That's good. No, so Clay, it's been a pleasure. I mean, unless you have something you want to add, I always enjoy talking to you because I always learn something.
well, it's great talking to you. I always like to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm going to stop by California sooner or later.
Well, I
Probably,
hope you do. If you get out here, by all means, come by there.
absolutely.
Let me
Absolutely.
know. I
Yeah,
need a 5-minute tour of the machine shop.
yeah. We'll film it. We'll have some fun. Yeah. Even that, I might even film you shooting your age.